Believers and non-believers, give me a few minutes of your time. I had a prophetic dream and I have to tell everybody about it. Everyone, okay? That is the only thing that I know that I have to do with this information, okay? Apologize for my appearance. I am very sick right now and I can't get through this without trembling and nearly having a panic attack, so bear with me, okay? I went to hell and I have seen hell and I have felt hell and I've been there. The night before last, I went to hell and I am here to tell you that it is very real. I don't know for what purpose in his will did he allow me to see what I saw, but I have to tell everybody about it now. So I wrote everything down. Let me try to get through it. I was in a place that the background was orange and gray, smoky ether, and I could see smoke. There was just smoke everywhere. The orange was just an orange glow of ember burning and smoke. And there was no light other than the fire or the burning ember of the orange. There was no light. I saw that my point of view was looking through a fisheye lens or a wide angle fisheye lens. It was so distorted. It was so weird. It was not like how we normally see. I didn't know exactly where I was until after I woke up, but I did have an awareness of being below. That's all I knew. I was below, and my soul and my spirit knew I was below. The amount of unfathomable grief and sorrow that I felt was overwhelming to my soul, or what I guess was my soul. It was overwhelming, completely, as if you were suffering, as if I was suffering a loss. And my brain couldn't wrap around what that loss was. And I remember feeling like I was burning from the inside out. Suffering a loss, unfathomable grief and sorrow, and burning from the inside out. Like my soul was on fire physically, and my flesh was burning, but it wouldn't burn up. Okay? The grief of the soul caused physical pain. I still had a body. Physical pain from the base of my neck to my tailbone. That I learned later was representative of my actual soul. The neck to the tailbone, it was physical pain from this grief, from this sorrow, and I was heaving. You know how when you're having a panic attack and your chest gets all tight and you're heaving? That was never ending, that feeling right there, but 100 times worse. Because of that, I was unable, me and everyone else in there was unable to stand up straight. I could not stand up straight. I was permanently hunched in a defeated posture. Could not physically stand up straight. Couldn't look up. All I could do was look down and see this. What I can see through my hood right now. I was desperately trying to breathe. But there's only smoke. But you still have to breathe. I still had to breathe. But there was only smoke. There was no oxygen. So I only choked every time I tried to breathe, but I couldn't stop the sensation of having to breathe because I needed to breathe, but there was no air. It was only smoke. So you just choke and choke and choke and choke and choke and choke with no oxygen. But you still have to breathe. It's what? I was unable to cry and produce tears from this unfathomable grief and sorrow and sadness in my soul. I was trying to cry. But you know when you've cried so much, you have no more tears left? You know that feeling, that actual physical feeling? This was worse. This was not being able to produce any tears. Your eyes are as dry as the Sahara Desert. And you're getting ready to cry, but that initial shit comes on and you just, no tears, nothing. You can't satiate the feeling of needing to cry. The feeling of needing to cry is never satisfied, ever. You just always, you need to cry, but you can't. But you need to cry and you are unable to stop. I was unable to stop. Heave crying, dry heave crying, no tears, just, it was awful. So I was unable to cry and produce tears, but I was also unable to cease crying, dry heave crying. And here's some of the worst part about it. My peripheral vision, through this fisheye lens looking thing, I could see the orange in the smoke, but ever so often in the corner in the peripheral vision only, like an eye booger, like one of those eye squigglies that moves out of the center of your vision every time you try to look at it, I could see green, lush, poking through that ethereal smoke that I was breathing in. The green is paradise. The green is paradise. You can see paradise from hell. You can see paradise from hell. You can see paradise from hell, but every time you try to look at it, it moves out of your line of sight. Like an eye. So actually I got a phone call in the middle of trying to make this video, and that was yesterday, in which I got to spend several hours on the phone with two different family members of mine where I got to share this encounter, so I'm thankful for that time, but I'm going to continue. So you can see paradise from hell. Like a squiggly eye booger that keeps moving around in your peripheral vision and you can't actually look at it, right? But you can see it and you know that that's what it is from hell, okay? Hell is entirely overcrowded. I was standing hunched over, shoulder to shoulder with other people. Like, it was so unimaginably, vastly crowded. Yet, it was the most alone you could ever feel. It was the most lonely place you can ever imagine. Yet it's overcrowded. And as I noticed it was overcrowded with the people, yet completely alone, and I felt like I was searching for something, like I had just suffered a great loss. I couldn't see anybody's faces. No one had faces. No one had faces. They were all just gray figures that were once people, that were once images of God, but are no longer images of God. That's, the Holy Spirit told me that's what that represents. Those are no longer images of God. The only face that I could see or that I was aware of was my own, and my face was permanently fixed in an expression of sorrow or anger or grief or any of the negative emotions that aren't of God or anything like it. It was constant expression, permanent expression of sorrow and grief, unable to smile ever again. And then the Holy Spirit told me that the lake of fire is not just a place where we're sent to. The lake of fire is made up of people. We are part of the lake of fire. We make it up. God sent me to hell. Not because I had any doubt or fear of where I was going when I die. That wasn't why. The Holy Spirit told me that I was in the entry point of hell, basically the main lobby. I was where you go initially once he says, "Depart from me, I never knew you," on Judgment Day. I saw hell on Judgment Day, okay? God is getting very serious, okay? So if you are lukewarm, you need to wake up and pick a side. If you know the gospel, yet you choose not to live by it, you're better off dead. To quote Jesus Christ himself, this is not a joke. This is not meant to instill you with fear, but reverence for the Lord. I pray that this reaches whoever it needs to reach and touches them deeply. I love you guys, and I follow the Holy Spirit when he tells me to do stuff. So he sent me to hell and told me to tell you about it. Wake up.